This What's going on, people? Welcome to another edition of Breaking Debates. I believe this is episode 27, and like we said last week, we're going to be discussing the Transformers film series.
Woohoo!
So,
Transformers.
The Transformers film series been directed by Michael Bay. Easily some of the most controversial movies because it seems like for as much good as the movies have, there's an equal amount of bad. What are your thoughts on it?
Let's see. How many movies have we had so far? We had Transformers, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, Dark Side of the Moon, Age of Extinction, and soon to be forthcoming, The Last Night.
Yes, and for y'all who don't know, I'm Narik Chase, and with me is Ken Phillips, awesome radio talk show host and a pretty good friend.
I like to think so. That's why we have those posters in metal places for, right?
Mm-hmm. I hope that it doesn't echo within this podcast, but everything, because my mic is right here and I got you on the big speaker, so I can't use my headphones at the moment. I still don't understand why, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Technology is what it is.
Let's go ahead and get right on to it. I had a list of questions, which I'm going to start off with asking you, Ken. What is your general thoughts of the overall series?
I have looked forward to seeing live-action Transformers for a very long time. I was very happy with Transformers original. Revenge of the Fallen started kind of dropping the bar a little bit.
Yeah.
I was expecting the Fallen to be a much more of a bad guy. And then we got to the Dark Side of the Moon, which was really going well. And I think it kind of made up a little bit in the Revenge of the Fallen department.
Yeah.
Age of Extinction, we had a change of characters, mostly in our human side of our team. And I kind of it wasn't quite doing it for me, although I was excited to see the Dinobots come in.
Yeah.
But they threw the side storyline in with was a long shot, I think was his name, the side bounty hunter in there. Lockdown. And it just kind of started I don't know. I kind of started feeling the movie not working for me there in the Extinction.
I can agree with that. It felt convoluted because there was so much stuff going on.
Yeah, you had all this stuff. You had a side storyline. You had the bad guys making other Transformers. I mean, just so much going on, and I think it kind of took away from the movie. Although visually, I mean, it was cool.
Yeah,
Transformium, I think is what they called it in the movies. You know, the new liquidized Transformers. You know, they don't mechanically change like Prime and Bumblebee and all. They are kind of like a mixture of like nanite technology or something.
You know what I thought about when I seen those? It felt like watching Terminator 2 and the Transformers of the Terminator, and then the new Transformers that they had were the T-1000.
Yeah, you had the T-800s, and then you had the T-1000s. That is a very good analogy, because I didn't know what to think of it. I mean, I thought it was kind of cool, but it just kind of took it away from me. I really loved the first one.
Yeah,
man, there were some scenes in there like that just give me goosebumps when I watch it, because when you first see Bumblebee, you're like, oh, look, it's Bumblebee, and you're like, woohoo!
Yeah.
And then they introduce you to, when you first time you see Optimus Prime drive up and change and stand up, and he's like, I'm Optimus Prime.
Epic. Completely, and you're like,
epic. What?
Yeah.
Loved it. And then when you have Megatron and he's chasing Shia LaBeouf's character, trying to get the Allspark, and you hear that, if you hear it on a surround sound, like in a theater or at your home with a really good surround sound, when you hear him, that growly metallic voice that's in there, and you hear him and he's like, I can smell you, and you're like, oh, bad guy, awesome. And that was great.
You know, that was I think that was Hugo Weaving.
Yes. Agent Smith.
Yeah, awesome. He's always awesome.
Loved it. I mean, they had the original voice actors for most of the characters from the Transformer animated series, which even made it better. I mean, you had Optimus Prime, the voice, right there. So
Peter Cullen.
Stick. Yeah, Peter Cullen.
Peter Cullen, he did it.
Yeah, and I loved it. And the formula worked. The story worked. It was great. I like it when Blackout, the helicopter, the Pavlo, shows up.
That intro right there, that was literally the best intro they could have ever started the whole series off with.
Oh man, I was like, holy crap, these dudes are getting mowed, and he just started plowing them. You know, now we had a side thing. You got Scorponok, who showed up in there as an attachment to him, but for the most part,
that was pretty cool.
He's more Insecticon world. You don't really see him in the normal Transformer world that we saw as an animated series, or even in the CGI animated series that are on currently right now. So, but it was great. ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, phenomenal. I mean, I was watching like the little movie snippet, I guess you could say, off of one of the DVDs, talking about how much power it took, how long it took to render just a few seconds of a transformation on one of these characters. And if you look really well, like they're
highly detailed. They're highly detailed,
how intricate, and they actually really, they really in the virtual world created all those moving parts, and
they made it plausible. They made it as real. There's never going to be, I don't care if anybody reboots the Transformers series, there's never going to be a new series that's going to beat the Transformation is. I don't see it.
No, you can't. I mean, you might have better technology down the road, but I mean, you got the might of Industrial Light and Magic. I mean, they have thousands upon thousands of computer servers and gigabits of computing power, and they were dedicating almost everything they had to just doing the transformations.
And all of them are so detailed, so well constructed.
Exactly.
As I said, if somebody reboots it, they're going to have to borrow that formula. They can't beat that.
I would really hope that this is it, and they never reboot the series at all. You know, leave it be as it is. I mean, like I say, we've got some really good versions. You know, the first movie or so, and then you kind of had a lull, and then you got a really good one again. Then you
I loved Dark of the Moon. That's my favorite one.
Really?
Yes, I loved it. I mean, some elements I didn't like so much. Like what was the one guy? Like some of the characters I thought they brought back, they shouldn't have brought them back.
Oh, like Prime, the original Prime.
No, not him. I meant like some of the human characters.
Oh.
Sam Wiki, I didn't mind because he actually fit into the story. The Tyrese and Josh Dunhamel, they were in the military, so I understood why they were in there. Characters like what was the one guy from Sector 7? John Turturro. He shouldn't have been in the movie.
Yeah, well, I thought it was funny because they went to him to get the information and stuff, and so it was kind of interesting. You know,
you know what? It would have played better with his character if he would have been in the second movie and not the third movie, or perhaps not the second movie, but he came back in the third movie. His character would have fit better. But since they put him in all three movies,
it's like you're trying to carry him on. You're like, come on, man, what's the deal here? You know, I like the fact that they brought in, at least in our Transformer lineup in that movie, though. When we did have Starscream, we had Megatron, although he's banged up pretty bad. I like Soundwave. Soundwave has been one of my favorite characters from way back, and in the first movie, we never really saw him in a physical form other than the satellite.
Yeah.
Then in the in the particular Dark Side of the Moon, he was actually physically on Earth, which was pretty cool. And Shockwave.
Shockwave was beast.
That they brought him in there, and that giant whatever that thing was he was with.
The giant worm thing from Doom.
Sandworm's a spice worm. And I was really cool that they brought him in there. These are some of the bigger characters. I mean, if you remember the original, Soundwave was a cassette player, which in the original movie, in the original Transformers, the little I can't think of his name at the moment, the little geeky thing.
Yeah.
He was Soundwave, and I was like really disappointed, but they didn't call him Soundwave. He was what is that little dude's? I'm trying to find his freaking name right here. It's not Ravage, Redmond, Grindor. I'll find him in a minute, but you know, I thought he was kind of an interesting little character, but I was hoping that it was a Soundwave. And then when they actually showed Soundwave and he had that voice, that really cool Soundwave voice, I was like, oh yeah, now we're talking. And then they brought him into the dark side.
I wanted to, start off like, what are some of the best aspects of the series? I had to say, of course, the visuals. The visuals, yeah, hands down, phenomenal.
Yes,
the score. Some of the scores were really good.
Yes.
I ain't gonna say some of them. Almost all the scores that I heard were actually like good, especially during the big battles.
Oh yeah. I like when I like musical like Howard Shore and John Williams and Danny Elfman and all, and I love soundtracks to movies and musical scores. And I really, really like when we were talking again, you know, first time you actually see Bumblebee and he signals the rest of the Transformers to show up. That music that's in the background as they show up and all the way to where he transforms was just like, whoa. I'm so into that moment, and you hear that same reverb throughout the movie and those really necessary elements that when they, they're down, but they, still kicking butt and they step back up to the game, and you hear it in there. And that's what really caught my ears. Definitely love the music.
Because I'm a fan of Steve Jablonsky, and I'm a fan of Hans Zimmer too.
Oh,
I got some of his music. I think the most pronounced like song or music or whatever you want to say it was in Dark of the Moon, where the sequence where Optimus just got freed, and it seemed like all the Autobots were getting pinned down, and then you just see Optimus Prime just soar in there, and he's just laying waste to like 12 Decepticons in like 30 seconds.
Just mowing it down.
Yeah, and that's when he ended up going against Shockwave, which I really wished his character could have this could have been a bigger battle, and perhaps with a different character than Optimus. But as far as like in the action, there's the score, the visuals, and the action. Those three things are undeniable.
Yes, they did a phenomenal job with everything in there, and trying to get you involved in the story. Like I say, the original Transformers from 2007, loved it, got into it.
Yes.
I ate that movie up. I watched it repetitively.
Yeah.
I got into, we came out with the second movie, Revenge of the Fallen. And I really liked Bad Guys, and I was hoping that the Fallen would be very similar to the comic series or to the animated series, which we won't go into that. That's a whole nother enchilada in itself. But now I was really expecting him to be a Billy Badass because he's one of the original 13 Primes.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt a little disappointed with him.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I felt that he kind of died too easily. I was happy to see the Constructicons.
Yeah.
Although that whole controversy about the little bells thing going on.
That was hilarious. That was one of the funniest things.
What the heck? What are you thinking about? And it wasn't quite exactly as we expected to see. I'm expecting to see that lime green Constructicon Devastator, and it was kind of sort of like him, but not exactly comic book style, but it gave me the right idea.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I thought that I actually thought that the Constructicon thing actually looked pretty cool, and the way it used the little sand ability thing that it did was sucking the sand out. I thought that was pretty cool. I would have liked to see a bigger battle with that creature because I can understand the military doing what they did, but I would have liked to see Transformers just going at it. The Autobots trying to take them down,
or have the Autobot version of man, they had the airplanes. Have an Autobot version. We'll just leave it at that because there's several versions of that. Because you got Primus Supreme and a bunch of other ones that could have been rolled in there to have their own version of a multi-splitter put together.
Yeah,
that would have been interesting as well. I mean, they had a lot of Decepticons and stuff that weren't even named. They were just there. And you're like, where'd all these dudes come from, and who are they?
They reminded me of that guy, those guys that be on the Star Trek show, and every episode there's one or two guys that be in the background that go on an adventure with the main cast, and they always die.
Red shirts.
That's what those.
They're red shirts.
Yeah.
That's all they are. Is red shirts.
That's what that. But one thing I did like about Revenge of the Fallen was like the whole epic battle where it's the Decepticons versus the humans or the Autobots. Like I love that. And
knockdown, drag out fight.
Yeah. One thing I will say that I think could have been done better with the Transformers series is the stories. They're all good stories, but I think that the films should have been built in a way to, like with the whole R-Spark thing. Yes. I would have that idea could have seemed like it could have been like a trilogy to me.
Yes, if it had been easily run that.
Every movie seemed like it could have been a trilogy.
Yeah, they tapped into everything. I mean, you had Transformers, All-Spark could have carried on to one or two more movies. Revenge of the Fallen, they could have had where they never even showed the Fallen and just the precursor setup of them just bouncing around trying to figure out what had gone on.
Or
Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah. Or perhaps kind of have like, if they're going to introduce the Fallen, perhaps introduce him possibly and try to link him possibly, manipulating the strings in the background during the events of the first Transformers.
Yeah, have stuff being done. He and when we get to the dark side of not necessarily the dark side of the moon, but Revenge of the Fallen, you get to where he was in the background because the first place Galvatron or Megatron goes to is right to him, and then you realize that there's a whole another ship crashed on Saturn with what's left of the pseudo Decepticon army.
Yep,
and he's stuck there because he can't leave because the Prime still exists. They could have, again, easily spread that over one or two movies, easily, maybe three, with
that's
them kind of manipulating the background.
Yep. That's what I always say with the Transformers series. The stories are good. They just all of them feel rushed. Like all of this stuff has to happen in one movie. It feels like an episode. Like every movie feels like an episode.
Yeah, it's kind of like bad guy of the day, save the day, and keep on trucking.
Yeah. If they'd have actually linked them together a bit better, and a way they tied them in together instead of, everything would have played out. Yeah. Like if I'm rambling right now.
No, it's okay. It's just, it's exactly what they did. They're trying to tie these movies together, in a storyline, just like Dark Side of the Moon. When you come into Age of Extinction, you have all the characters who were killed at Dark Side of the Moon being taken advantage of and just ripped apart in Age of Extinction, and then you bring another storyline in with Lockdown. Who's there honestly to get get the rest of these Autobots. Well, where'd this dude come from? How do they? He's
honestly,
not even bad guy.
Dark of the Moon could have easily been split into two different movies. They could have literally split that movie into two different movies and put them out at the same time.
Yeah. It's just kind of like when they filmed Lord of the Rings. They filmed them all at the same time. Just edit them down and do what you got to do. Yeah,
because the story with the story with Lockdown is a pretty good story. You got this one transformer, whatever the heck he is, hunting down Optimus Prime. The whole movie could have been a manhunt for Optimus Prime. That would have been a good story. Or you could have the humans hunting down the Transformers. That would be a good storyline.
And they were kind of trying to throw that in there, but they gobbledygooked it all together in an episode of the week in a 2.5-hour movie.
Yeah, or what I'm saying, they could have went with the humans hunting the Autobots, and then they're using the spare parts to build the new Autobots. And then at the end of the movie, when the resolution comes or whatever, it could have been hinted on that Lockdown was providing them with technology to do this.
Yes.
And then Lockdown comes in the next movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd have been better.
Get the overall big picture story now.
Yeah, absolutely. And much as I like the Dinobots, they were kind of forced in there, even though they kind of had a decent reason to be there. I will give them that. But they were cool. They actually were pretty cool.
They were cool, but I'm expecting to see Grimlock and Snarl and all those, and I don't know. I mean, they're supposed to be some of the most powerful of the Transformers.
Yeah.
in Transform Universe next to a Prime or one of the larger Unibots.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still kind of mixed on them. It was really cool to actually get to see them and see what kind of powerhouses they were. I was just kind of expecting a little bit more out of them, but again, we're rushing 3 different storylines. You got Galvatron now doing his thing. You've got the humans doing their thing. You've got Lockdown doing. I mean, you got 4 storylines going in this one movie.
Absolutely.
And it just becomes overwhelming.
I want to ask you this: do you think the human element in this stories is necessary?
In the first movie, absolutely. In the second movie, they could have probably done without it completely in that aspect of Revenge of the Fallen. They didn't have to have humans in there at all. I know why they did it. They're just trying to keep a contract. But I mean, most of these movies could have been done solely without people in them. Dark Side of the Moon, they had to have a threat in there, and they actually used that the Decepticons are using humans and have been using humans. To make their plan happen. I can understand the need for them in there. Age of Extinction, again, they bring the human element in there as mostly, being a bad guy in this case, being manipulated.
I kind of want to say in Age of Extinction that the human story kind of was necessary, because if you think about it, you got this group of organization of bad humans hunting down Transformers. Who would you need if you're a Transformer? Who would you need to help you kind of navigate that situation? You kind of need another human.
Yeah, you have to have somebody that reason to. They're wanting the technology, and let's say in this case you're Galvatron, the bad guy, and you're trying to get yourself somewhere. How do I do it? Humans in this case were greedy, and he basically just led them on to get what he wanted, and then when he was ready, boom. Galvatron, bad guy.
And that's why I did like that's why I did like another reason I like Dark of the Moon is because of that. In the first 3 films, it was the humans band with the Autobots to defeat the Decepticons, and then the Decepticons take a page from that and decide to do the exact same thing. Start using humans. And even with the Age of Extinction, they did the same thing. It just happened to be more humans on the bad guy side.
And in balance. But now we got Last Night. What are your thoughts on Last Night? There's so much information, and in the last few days, there's been a lot of news about. Again, we're talking about multiple storylines, multiple time frames. What are your thoughts? Because I know you wanted to highlight this last week. So, what's your thoughts on the new movie, The Last Night?
I'm going to be going off the cuff. I think I made a video on it, but I haven't published it yet. But I'm gonna publish it with this too. Talking about this, I don't mind The Last Night. I'm not sure. I don't know nothing about the story because I haven't looked up any news on it. I said I'll wait till things get a little bit more. I don't want to say legitimate, but what's the word? Approved. You know what I mean. I'm interested to see where they're going to take The Last Night. My thing is this, and I like Mark Wahlberg, but I heard he was going to be back in the movie.
Yes.
But at this point, I don't think he should be, but it would make sense story-wise for him to sort of be there because at this point in time, he's one of the few humans Optimus trusts. So if he does come back to Earth, that's who he would go back to. And if they are, and I think they were talking about bringing more Dinobots and stuff into it. In fact, Optimus had a sword, and in the background it was a 3-headed dragon.
Yeah,
and I'm like, if they're going to do that, they're going to definitely have to have a good reason why.
Well, they're trying to throw in. I was trying to remember the article, and I couldn't find it before we came online because it was a busy day at work today. But there was a guy who threw out because they were talking about right now they're filming over in England at Winston Churchill's house, and there's a lot of people ticked off because they're having people in Nazi uniforms, and they're trying to figure out the Nazi. They're trying to figure out what the tie-in is, why they're having this going on, and there's been a lot of speculation and theory, and they're talking about over time, the Nazis were trying to always use the supernatural element, anything they could use to get an advantage. And there's something that they're looking for. And it's probably something of Cybertronian creation that ended up on Earth, amongst all the other junk that ends up landing on Earth for some reason. And that they were trying to find it and utilize it in the war, but could never find it.
Yeah, I see that they got Tyrese Gibson and Josh Duhamel coming reprising their roles in this movie.
They're back in there. Also, we've got Stanley Tucci.
Yeah, he was hilarious.
Back. He's going to be in the movie. We're going to have King Arthur in the movie. Anthony Hopkins in the movie. Mitch Pileggi, if you're an X-Files fan. Those two names I recognize. So I'm very curious, and the rumor is Anthony Hopkins may actually play Merlin.
He does have that. Wow. Okay. The first 3 films, the 4th film, fine, I can deal with that. But they don't need to take it all the way back like that.
Well, it's probably just going to be a spot, like a segment in time that they're going to be having this object that's being sought.
Yeah.
I see the sword. I'm looking at a picture of Optimus Prime with this big old sword, and of course you're talking about the 3-headed dragon.
Yeah.
But
looking like Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon with the 3 heads from Yu-Gi-Oh.
Where's it coming? I mean, we've got Megatron in here, Barricade in here, Onslaught in here, some unknown character who's a dump truck, another character who's a McLaren. They haven't really pointed out who those characters are going to be. We got, of course, Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Hound, Drift, Crosshairs, which came in from the last movie, Hot Rod, and of course they always have some little annoying character in there, like the little dump truck or whatever. This one's going to be a Vespa called Squeaks.
I hope with the when it comes to the look, I'm not going to sit there and trip out about like stereotypes when it comes to the Transformers. But I hope they actually have some that aren't stereotypes. Like they had the one that was
the two brother robots.
No, I didn't mind. Well, yeah, them two.
Oh my
and then,
God.
Then the one of Age of Extinction, they had the samurai one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
he was I can't think of his name, but yeah, he was one of the human created ones.
Yeah, he was a Japanese one. He was a Japanese. He sounded like an Asian guy,
and he had samurai armor.
Yeah, and I'm like, really? I'm not gonna still they'd have made a Transformer that acted somewhat like a samurai, but to have him fully dressed up like one, that was a bit much for him.
It was just like Jazz. Everybody was ragging about Jazz. In the first movie,
Yeah, I remember that.
We're applying a stereotype to a character. But even in the TV shows, he was kind of like that, but not as vocal.
Yeah.
He was kind of the crazy offshoot, somewhat comedic relief. But those two little robots in the other movie, they could have done without them. I don't even know what they were thinking about those guys.
I thought they were all right, but they were over the top. They were a little bit much.
Yeah, they were They were a distraction more than they were, to me, a benefit to the movie. I mean, they could have been in there briefly and then, gotten blown up or something. Would have been great. But I really couldn't hit it because Skids, that's one of them. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, that is one of them. I have the Transformer Skids, the original Skids, and it's a Scion XB. So I was like, oh, they're going to have... Oh, no. Because it's all Chevrolet products, so obviously no Toyotas in there.
I was happy in the Revenge of the Fallen they finally brought a female type, a female, Transformer into the fray, a female Autobot.
Yeah, they should have. There's quite many of them in the Transformer world.
And what happened to her? She got shot in the face. She got shot in the face with a missile. I was like, what?
Well, they actually had, was it 3?
Yeah, it was like 3 motorcycles.
Yeah, and then I think she.
Yeah, she died. She was like, she was talking to, I think, Sam or one of the human characters. She was like, come with me or this way or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, wow.
Hi, and you're gone. Next.
What we was talking about like which Transformer did you like interpretation that you thought or incarnation you think was best? By far everybody's favorites are Optimus Prime, Bumblebee. Even though Megatron is different, he still stands out.
Well, he still has the characterization that I was expecting.
Yeah.
I mean, when Hugo Weaving's voice is metallicized and brought into the character, and how arrogant and power controlling. I mean, he was Megatron, even though the character was a little different. But I mean, they made him creepy and them crazy fingers and that growly face. I mean, yeah.
And he growled a lot too.
Yeah,
I liked how he did that.
Kind of more animalistic, but he's still, that's big. And he goes, "Come on, all right, Prime, let's rock." I loved him. I loved him.
I like Shockwave too.
So in the series, I started kind of not so much being drawn to the character as much. I kind of felt bad for him at one point in time when he's sitting there in the alleyway and he got that thing crawling in his eye.
Yeah, he had a big hole in the head.
Yeah, he's like, I'm giving up. Whatever, screw this. And then he gets tricked into getting into the battle.
Yeah, I want to ask you this too. This is the relationship I see with Megatron and Optimus Prime. To me, Megatron and Optimus Prime are the equivalent of Superman and General Zod. Holla if you hear me.
Yeah, I could go with that. I can definitely go with that.
Because they're like beasts at who they are and what they are, but it's just their conflicting ideologies.
Exactly. One wants to expand through peace, wants to expand through conflict.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, actually, really, Zod didn't want to expand through conflict. I mean, he was just Zod in this in our relationship was basically he was what he was because he was designed to be that way. His goal was to do whatever means necessary to protect his world, and whatever it took to do it, he did it. In this case, Megatron is really just trying to take over everything and expand the Transformer Empire.
Yeah,
and eliminating all the good that was still there. And he paid the price. I mean, they just pretty much thrashed Cybertron. I mean, it's obliterated.
Yeah.
Especially when they brought it through the portal. But
one of the things that I could say that a lot of people did not like when it comes to the films is the story. Even though the stories are interesting, they definitely should have been ironed out a lot more. Some of the human characters feel unnecessary.
Yes.
Especially with some of them that reprise their roles. Like I said, I was with Sam through the first three movies because he did somewhat fit. He did fit into the storyline.
Well, they made him fit in the storyline.
Yeah, but then certain other characters. Well, you know what? Maybe not so much in the third movie. Like for him to be in that city when all that stuff started jumping off. Yeah, that was too big of a coincidence. So we'll just say that chopped that up to convenience. So I would say that the first two movies he should have been in, and then the third one should have been somebody else. Maybe stumbled on this plot, and then in the fourth one, Mark Wahlberg. I liked his character. I liked the situation he had with his daughter. And Stanley Tucci, I did like his character. Because it wasn't the fact that he was like an evil guy. He was just really ambitious.
Exactly. He was doing kind of like, Zod, doing his job to the best of his ability. And he still had a little bit of a comedic thing going on.
That was hilarious. He was hilarious. I go watch it now. I still be laughing at the stuff he did in that movie.
So, I mean, they do it. But like I say, the stories definitely needed to be a lot more thought out, more ironed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think, the first one I really loved, and I will watch it continuously. The other ones, I really just, I just don't get back into them. If I see Transformers on, I'll sit and watch it.
Yeah.
But I just not going to go slap a DVD in or Blu-ray and watch, the other movies. I just couldn't get into it. I can't watch them again. There's some scenes I may like just fast forward to because I want to see them.
Yes, I'm bad with that.
But watching the movie, just sitting down for 2.5 hours, I can't do it.
What? Okay, this is the part I wanted to jump on because I'm a freak over this. What is some of the most memorable? some of the most coolest, some of your favorite sequences in all four movies?
Well, we covered one earlier, or actually covered several earlier.
Yeah.
First being the first time you see Optimus transform.
Yep.
Two for me is when Bumblebee signals and they show up, and you see them all showing up and changing, and then all meeting together.
Yep.
Definitely like that.
I did like the chase sequence on the highway.
Yes.
And then you see Optimus transform while he's driving.
Yep, and then go and slide back there and go stomping on him.
Yeah, that was tight.
I like the barricade when he showed up. Oh, I'm sorry, Blackout.
Yeah, Blackout.
When he shows up at the base and IED'd.
Yeah.
All about that. I mean, that was probably just woo. Let's see. That's in the first movie.
And this, of course, the second movie is the best sequence is when Optimus fights Starscream, Megatron, and Blackout at the same time.
Yeah, he's got a 3-on-1 going.
And at first, they was beating him, and then he came back strong.
I'm trying to think about another real moment that stood out. I wasn't too much in Age of Extinction. I wasn't too much into. I know. The very beginning scene of Dark Side of the Moon, where they're all flying through the Cybertron.
Oh yeah,
and they're leaving the planet, and they end up crashing. And then when the humans end up landing on the moon in 1965 or whatever,
yeah,
you know how they had planned to go and look at it, and they had this pre-recorded everything. That whole beginning of the movie,
yeah,
was definitely a showstopper. I mean, I really wow. That was one of those moments. I was bummed when what was his name? Ironhide.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna bring it up.
Horribly, tragically, awful, bad. You know, and
I did like
my favorite characters.
I did like the chase sequence on that one, the highway chase. But they was trying to escort, quote unquote, escort Sentinel Prime, and then you got the 3 Decepticons that were like SUVs, but then they all transformed and started running, and that's one of my favorite sequences throughout the whole series. And the way they looked, the level of they looked real. They looked so real.
How about when Soundwave disperses the Panther to the island to get the last piece of the Allspark? And he comes out of the water, and he's got the machine guns on him, and he sneaks onto the base and dumps all the little pebbles down there, and they all form that really thin-looking transformer.
Yeah. Yeah,
and he gets
that was really cool.
And then he was running back and forth, and he's like mowing them all down with the tail guns and everything.
Yeah.
That's the sound wave I know about. You know, that's what I'm like ready to watch him mowing them all down.
I love the beginning of the Revenge of the Fallen too. I will admit that. What this big old transformer is just like plowing down the street, and you see the part where Optimus jumps on the bridge. And then it's and he's trying to catch up to the thing. And next you know, this monster hulking Decepticon runs into the bridge, and Optimus there's just like this slow motion thing where Optimus jumps up off this broken up bridge and onto his face at the same time. And I remember when I seen a trailer for that, I was like, oh my gosh, that looks so cool.
You're like, holy crap. Ravage. That was the guy I was trying to think of. That was the Jaguar.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, there was so many.
There's some pretty good moments.
Yeah, there were some pretty good highlights, and so I didn't really jump too much into Age of Extinction. I mean, I've honestly briefly watched it, parted it through. I've never sat down and completely watched it all the way from beginning to end. And that's pretty bad for me. And I love Transformers. I'm an old school. I mean, I have some old Triplicons and all kind of stuff. But
it's got some pretty epic moments. But I would say this: the whole end scene, the whole end battle, that's the part. For anything else, if not for anything else, watch that end battle.
I
The end battle is
watched the
epic.
tail end of it. I saw the
Yeah,
end and everything, and
I
everything that went
love
down.
that end
And I
battle.
will say, yes, definitely, that was a very huge moment in the movie. Seeing everything that's going on, who's been wheeling and dealing, and all the other things that's going on, and that's where the sword ends up coming from. So yeah, I definitely caught that.
That was epic. Especially, I like John Goodman. I liked him too. I liked his auto.
Great. I loved him. He fit that. They made him like him, and he was just freaking awesome to watch. You know, it's neat to see them take a person and transform, kind of like Simpsonize them, but they transformize them.
Yeah. I kind of felt bad for them at the end because it did seem like it was a losing battle.
It wasn't going very well.
Yeah, because it was so many Decepticons. But then that's when the Dinobots and Optimus showed up.
Save the day moment.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty good. It had some pretty good comedy in it.
I do like that they inject a little bit of that. I mean, they're not trying to be, some of them were a little more overbearing than others.
Yeah.
But kind of like, when Bumblebee leaks his oil all over Tucci's character there.
Yeah.
and he's like, get out, and they like strip him down to his boxer shorts, and he's wearing like Section 9's official underwear or whatever it was. What? I loved it. Those moments were great, and they had, and used correctly, they worked very well for the movies.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to pump up some of that in the later movies, trying to make it a little more humorous, like the little humping robot.
Yeah.
What the heck? Come on.
I did like, I'm sorry, I like Megan Fox. Megan Fox, a beautiful woman. I'll give it to her. But she can't act. Not to me. No. I thought that, and the other girl that replaced her in Dark of the Moon, again, she was a pretty woman, beautiful woman, but she could not act. The daughter that Mark Wahlberg's daughter in Age of Extinction, she could act.
Yeah, they're trying to bring eye candy and your attention to the movie, and they're not bringing the game. Give me more story, give me something to it, not just bring me eye candy. If in fact I saw Revenge of the Fallen over in Slidell at the IMAX theater.
Yeah,
and the first thing you get is a big old 3D beginning of that scene, and you're like, "What? What's going on here?" Am I watching?
I know I'd love to sit here and keep talking, but we got 2 minutes or less than 2 minutes left for the rest of this show. Are there any ideas that you want to, thoughts or opinions you want to follow up with?
Eager to see what happens in 2017 with the movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep an eye out on the message boards and stuff and see what the secret is and what's going on with the last night. I hope it doesn't go too cheesy into the Arthurian storyline.
Yeah, who made him?
We know he's going to be in there.
I want to see who made them from the way they brought it up in Age of Extinction. I want to see who made the Transformers.
Who's the creators? Who brought them around? I'll be eager to see what happens. I hope it's a better movie than the last one. Because we've had a good one, bad one, good one, bad one. So, we're in store for a good one. So let's see what happens.
Straight up, good. They do need to work on the stories, though. They really do. But again, thank you once again, Ken, for joining me here on this Break of Debates. I like chopping it up with you, man. Transformers, that was a good conversation. Perhaps one day we can come back to it, especially when The Last Night comes out.
Yep, we don't have much longer. We got a lot of movies coming out this year. Yeah, Doctor Strange coming up. Trying to think of
Star Wars.
We have another Star Wars. 2017 is going to be a big movie year.
Yes, they're bringing it. They is definitely bringing that end game when it comes to these movies.
Exactly. So what shall we talk about next week?
Right. You know what? We could go ahead and jump on the Star Wars since you brought it up.
Star Wars or maybe Infinity Wars?
I need to, when it comes to Infinity Wars, I'm going to have to kind of look that up a little bit. I'm going to have to read up. Okay. Then.
I'm a Star Wars nut. Rogue One, I'm ready for.
Yes, sir. Well, let's go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you guys for, again, catching up with me and Ken as we talk about movies, nerd stuff, and all of that jazz. Anything you want to go ahead and just lead us on off then, Ken?
Don't forget to like us, subscribe us, and leave any comments you want over here in Eric Chase's YouTube channel. And we always try to look at the feedback and make sure you like and subscribe with us because we want to grow this channel. So, and we're more than welcome sometimes to have extra bodies in there too. So maybe you get lucky and come and join us for one of our chats.
Yes, because I hadn't been able to get in contact with Zach the last few days since I ain't been at work. But I'm gonna try to get him on next week so we could talk about Star Wars. And he's a Star Wars nut.
Good.
So that would be that'd be a good conversation.
So check us next week, same bat time, same bat channel, Wednesday at 7 o'clock on the Narik Chase channel. And we'll see you then for Star Wars for next week.
All right, then, peeps. We'll catch y'all later. Narik Chase and Ken Phillips signing out.